Die Hard is a 1988 American action film directed by John McClane and written by Jeb Stewart and Stephen E. D'Souza, based on the 1979 novel Nothing Lasts Forever by Roderick Thorpe. It stars Bruce Willis, Alan Rickman, Alexander Godunov, and Bonnie Bedelia, with Reginald Vell Johnson, William Atherton, Paul Gleason, and Hart Bochner in supporting roles. Die Hard follows a New York City police detective, John McClane, Willis, who becomes entangled in a terrorist takeover of a Los Angeles skyscraper while visiting his estranged wife during a Christmas Eve party. Stewart was hired by 20th Century Fox to adapt Thorpe's novel in 1987. His first draft was greenlit immediately, as the studio was eager for a summer blockbuster the following year. The role of McClane was turned down by a host of the decade's most popular actors, including Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. Known mainly for work on television, Willis was paid $5 million for his involvement, placing him among Hollywood's highest-paid actors. The deal was seen as a poor investment by industry professionals and attracted significant controversy towards the film prior to its release. Filming took place between November 1987 and March 1988, on a $25 to $35 million budget and almost entirely on location in and around Fox Plaza in Los Angeles. Expectations for Die Hard were low. Some marketing materials omitted Willis's image, ostensibly because the publicity team determined that the setting was as important as McClane. Upon its release in July 1988, initial reviews were mixed. Criticism focused on its violence, plot, and Willis's performance, while McTiernan's direction and Rickman's charismatic portrayal of the villain Hans Gruber were praised. Defying predictions, Die Hard grossed approximately $140 million, becoming the year's 10th highest-grossing film and the highest-grossing action film. Receiving 4 nominations at the 61st Academy Awards, it elevated Willis to leading man status and made Rickman a celebrity. Die Hard has been critically re-evaluated and is now considered one of the greatest action films of all time. It is considered to have revitalized the action genre, largely due to its depiction of McClane as a vulnerable and fallible protagonist, in contrast to the muscle-bound and invincible heroes of other films of the period. Retrospective commentators also identified and analyzed its themes of vengeance, masculinity, gender roles, and American anxieties over foreign influences. Due to its Christmas setting, Die Hard is often named one of the best Christmas films of all time, although its status as a Christmas film is disputed. The film produced a host of imitators. The term Die Hard became a shorthand for plots featuring overwhelming odds in a restricted environment, such as Die Hard on a Bus in relation to Speed, 1994. It created a franchise comprising the sequels Die Hard 2, 1990, Die Hard with a Vengeance, 1995, Live Free or Die Hard, 2007, and A Good Day to Die Hard, 2013, in addition to video games, comics, and other merchandise. Deemed culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant by the United States Library of Congress, Die Hard was selected for preservation in the National Film Registry in 2017. Plot. On Christmas Eve, New York City Police Department, NYPD, Detective John McClane arrives in Los Angeles, hoping to reconcile with his estranged wife, Holly, at a party held by her employer, the Nakatomi Corporation. He is driven to Nakatomi Plaza by a limo driver, Argyle, who offers to wait for McClane in the garage. While McClane washes himself, the tower is seized by German ex-radical Hans Gruber and his heavily armed team, including Carl and Theo. Everyone in the tower is taken hostage except for McClane, who slips away, and Argyle, who remains oblivious to events. Gruber is posing as a terrorist to steal the $640 million in untraceable bearer bonds in the building's vault. He kills executive Joseph Takagi after failing to extract the access code from him and tasks Theo with breaking into the vault. The terrorists are alerted to McClane's presence, and Carl's brother, Tony, is sent after him. McClane kills Tony and takes his weapon and radio, which he uses to contact the skeptical Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD. Sergeant Al Powell is sent to investigate. Meanwhile, McClane kills more terrorists and recovers their bag of C4 and detonators. Realizing Powell is about to leave, having found nothing amiss, McClane drops a terrorist's corpse onto his car. After Powell calls for backup, a SWAT team attempts to storm the building but is counterattacked by the terrorists. McClane throws some C4 down an elevator shaft, causing an explosion that kills some of the terrorists and ends the counterattack. Holly's co-worker Harry Ellis attempts to negotiate on Gruber's behalf but is killed by Gruber when McClane refuses to surrender. While checking the explosives on the roof, Gruber encounters McClane and pretends to be an escaped hostage. McClane gives Gruber a gun. Gruber attempts to shoot McClane but finds the weapon is unloaded, and he is saved only by the intervention of other terrorists. McClane escapes but is injured by shattered glass and loses the detonators. Outside, Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, agents take control. They order the power to be shut off, which, as Gruber had anticipated, disables the final vault lock so his team can collect the bonds. The FBI agrees to Gruber's demand for a helicopter, intending to send helicopter gunships to eliminate the group. McClane realizes Gruber plans to blow the roof to kill the hostages and fake his team's deaths. Carl, enraged by Tony's death, attacks McClane and is seemingly killed. Gruber sees a news report by Richard Thornburg on McClane's children and infers that he is Holly's husband. The hostages are taken to the roof while Gruber keeps Holly with him. McClane drives the hostages from the roof just before Gruber detonates it and destroys the approaching FBI helicopters. Meanwhile, Theo retrieves an escape vehicle from the parking garage but is knocked out by Argyle, who has been following events on the limo CB radio. A weary and battered McClane finds Holly with Gruber and his remaining henchmen. McClane seemingly surrenders to Gruber and is about to be shot but grabs his concealed service pistol taped to his back and uses his last 2 bullets to wound Gruber and kill his accomplice. Gruber crashes through a window but grabs onto Holly's wristwatch and makes a last-ditch attempt to kill the pair. McClane unclasps the watch, and Gruber falls to his death. Outside, Carl ambushes McClane and Holly, only to be shot dead by Powell. Holly punches Thornburg when he attempts to interview McClane. Argyle crashes through the parking garage door in the limo and drives McClane and Holly away together. Cast: Bruce Willis in 2018. Alan Rickman in 2011. Bruce Willis as John McClane, a New York City police detective 2. Alan Rickman as Hans Gruber, the ruthless leader of the terrorists 3. Alexander Godunov as Carl, Gruber's second-in-command 2. Bonnie Bedelia as Holly Gennaro McClane, a high-ranking Nakatomi executive and John's estranged wife 4. Reginald Vell Johnson as Al Powell, an LAPD Sergeant 5. Paul Gleason as Dwayne T. Robinson, the LAPD Deputy Chief 6. Devoros White as Argyle, John's limousine driver 5. William Atherton as Richard Thornburg, an unscrupulous TV reporter 7-8. Clarence Gilliard as Theo, Gruber's tech specialist 4. Hart Bachner as Harry Ellis, a sleazy Nakatomi executive 9. James Shijida as Joseph Yoshinobu Takagi, Nakatomi's head executive 4. Other cast members include Gruber's henchmen, Bruno Doyen as Franco, Andreas Wisniewski as Tony, Joey Pliwa as Alexander, Lorenzo Cachalanza as Marco, Gerard Bon as Christoph, Dennis Hayden as Eddie, Al Leong as Uli, Gary Roberts as Heinrich, Hans Beringer as Fritz, and Wilhelm von Homburg as James. Robert Davey and Grand L. Bush appear as FBI Special Agents Big Johnson and Little Johnson, respectively. Tracy Reiner appears as Thornburg's assistant, and Taylor Fry and Noah Land make minor appearances as McClane's children Lucy McClane and John Jr. 10. Production, Development and Writing. Director John McTiernan dressed in a blue shirt and glasses facing the camera. Director John McTiernan in 2014. The development of Die Hard began in 1987, when screenwriter Jeb Stewart was in dire financial straits. His script purchased by Columbia Pictures had been abandoned and a contract at Walt Disney Pictures was not providing him with sufficient income. Stewart had 6 weeks between contracted work, so his agent Jeremy Zimmer contacted Lloyd Levin, the head of development at the Gordon Company, a producing arm of 20th Century Fox. 11. Levin asked Stewart to work on an adaptation of the 1979 novel Nothing Lasts Forever, written by former private investigator Roderick Thorpe. 11-12 Thorpe had been inspired to write Nothing Lasts Forever by a dream he had in which armed assailants chase a man through a building after watching the 1974 disaster film The Towering Inferno. 11-13-14 Fox had adapted the book's 1966 predecessor, The Detective, for the 1968 film The Detective, starring Frank Sinatra as NYPD Detective Joe Leland, and purchased the sequel rights before Nothing Lasts Forever had been written. 11-13. Levin gave Stewart creative freedom as long as he retained the Christmas in Los Angeles setting. The concept, he considered, would provide an interesting aesthetic. 11. The film was pitched as Rambo in an office building, referring to the successful Rambo film series. 15. Producers Lawrence Gordon and Joel Silver hired director John McTiernan because of his work with them on the successful 1987 action film Predator. 16. 17. 18. McTiernan agreed to direct on the condition that the film would have some joy and not simply contain mean, nasty acts, seen in other terrorist films. 13. Stewart began working 18-hour days at his office at Walt Disney Studios in Burbank, which left him exhausted and on edge. 11. After an argument with his wife, he went for a drive and saw a box in his lane. Unable to avoid it, he was forced to drive over it and discovered it to be empty. According to Stewart, he pulled over on the side of the freeway, his heart pounding. From this, Stewart conceived a central theme of the story of a man who should have apologized to his wife before a catastrophe. He returned home to reconcile with his wife and wrote 35 pages that night. 11. To shape the McClanes' relationship, Stewart also drew upon the marital problems of his peers, including divorces and ex-wives reverting to use their maiden name. 11. Walt Disney Studios in Burbank, California. Jeb Stewart wrote his initial draft in his office at the Walt Disney Studios in Burbank, California. John McClane was named John Ford initially, but 20th Century Fox felt this was disrespectful to the deceased director of the same name. Stewart chose McClane as a good strong Scottish name, based on his own Celtic heritage. He described the character as a flawed hero who learns a lesson in the worst possible situation and becomes a better, but not a different, person. 11. Having no experience writing action films, Stewart drew on his experience writing thrillers, focusing on making the audience care about McClane, Holly, and their reconciliation. 11. As Stewart pitched his story to executives, Gordon interrupted him, told him to complete a draft, and left the meeting. Stewart finished his first draft just under 6 weeks later. 11. Stewart credits Levin for helping him understand Nothing Lasts Forever. 11. He adapted many sequences faithfully, including a C4 charge being thrown down an elevator shaft and the book's central character, Joe Leland, leaping from the roof. However, the novel is told entirely from Leland's perspective, and events he is not present for are not detailed. 11. 1920. Its tone is also more cynical and nihilistic. Leland visits his drug-addicted daughter at the Klaxon building, and she dies having fallen from the building alongside villain Anton Gruber, who is using naive male and female guerrilla soldiers to rob the building because of Klaxon's support for a dictatorial government. This made their motivations less clear and Leland more conflicted about killing them, especially the women. Leland is written as an experienced older man working as a high-powered security consultant. 11. 1820. Stewart rejected the novel's tone for being too sad, and believed an older action hero Leland being over 60 was nonsensical. Stewart created new material for scenes when McClane is not present, expanding upon or introducing characters. He gave Powell a wife and children, allowing him to relate more closely to McClane, and Argyle, whose novel counterpart disappears early in the story, is present throughout Stewart's draft. supporting McClane by broadcasting rap music over the terrorists' radios. Among the script's original characters is the unscrupulous journalist Richard Thornburg. 11. A fan of prominent Western film actor John Wayne, Stewart was inspired to carry a Western motif throughout the script, including cowboy lingo. He befriended a construction superintendent at the under-construction Fox Plaza in Los Angeles, allowing him access to the building to gain ideas on how to lay out the characters and scenes. He delivered the finished screenplay in June 1987. It was greenlit the following day, in part because 20th Century Fox needed a summer blockbuster for 1988. 11. Casting. Portrait of Bonnie Bedelia looking directly at the camera. Willis chose Bonnie Bedelia, pictured in 1974, to portray Holly Gennaro McClane after he saw her performance in Heart Like a Wheel, 1983. Because Die Hard was based on the novel sequel to the film adaptation of The Detective, the studio was contractually obliged to offer Frank Sinatra the role of John McClane. Sinatra, who was 70 at the time, declined. 12-13 The role was then offered to various major stars including Sylvester Stallone, Richard Gere, Clint Eastwood, Harrison Ford 17-21 Burt Reynolds 22 Nick Nolte, Mel Gibson, Don Johnson, Richard Dean Anderson 12 Paul Newman 23 James Caan 24 and Al Pacino. 25 The prevailing action archetype of the era was a muscle-bound, invincible macho man like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was offered the role, but he wanted to branch out into comedy and turned it down to star in Twins, 1988. 12 Bruce Willis was known mainly for his comedic role in the romantic comedy television series Moonlighting, starring opposite Sybil Shepherd. He declined the role because of his contractual obligations to Moonlighting, but when Shepherd became pregnant, the show's production was stopped for 11 weeks, giving Willis enough time to take the role. 12. McTiernan's girlfriend had a chance meeting with a representative of CinemaScore and asked them for analysis of Willis as the star. Their analysis showed that casting Willis would not have a negative impact. His participation was confirmed 2 weeks later. 26 The choice was controversial as Willis had starred in only one other film, the moderately successful comedy Blind Date, 1987. 12-27 At the time, there was also a clear distinction between film and television actors. Though films like Ghostbusters, 1984, had demonstrated that television stars could lead a blockbuster film, other television actors like Shelley Long and Bill Cosby had failed in their recent attempts to make the transition. 17-28. Willis received $5 million for the role, giving him a salary comparable to more successful, established film actors like Dustin Hoffman, Warren Beatty, and Robert Redford. 16 20th Century Fox president Leonard Goldberg justified the figure by saying Die Hard needed an actor of Willis's potential. 16 and Gordon said that Willis's everyman persona was essential to conveying the idea that the hero could actually fail. 29 other Fox sources were reported as saying the studio was desperate for a star after being turned down by so many popular actors. 30 Willis said, "They paid me what they thought I was worth for the film, and for them." 31. He described the character as unlike the larger-than-life characters portrayed by Stallone or Schwarzenegger, saying even though he's a hero, he is just a regular guy. He's an ordinary guy who's been thrown into extraordinary circumstances. 27 Willis drew upon his working-class upbringing in South Jersey for the character, including that attitude and disrespect for authority, that gallows sense of humor, the reluctant hero. 12. Rickman was already in his early 40s as he made his screen debut as Hans Gruber. He was cast by Silver, who had seen him perform in a Broadway version of Les Liaisons Dangereuses, playing the villainous Vicomte de Valmont. 1232 Bedelia was cast at Willis's suggestion after he saw her in the 1983 biographical film Heart Like a Wheel. 33 Vel Johnson appeared as Al Powell in his first major film role at the suggestion of casting director Jackie Burge, with whom he had worked previously. Robert Duvall, Gene Hackman, Lawrence Fishburne, and Wesley Snipes were considered for the role. 34, 35, 36 Ellis is portrayed by Hart Bochner, an acquaintance of Silver. His role was shot in chronological order over 3 weeks. McTiernan had wanted the character to be suave like actor Cary Grant, but Bochner conceived of the character's motivations coming from cocaine use and insecurity. McTiernan hated the performance initially until he noticed Gordon and Silver were entertained by Bochner's antics. 37. Rewrite. Roy Rogers dressed in cowboy gear. John McClane's catchphrase "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker" was inspired by Western actor Roy Rogers's pictured "Own Yippee-ki-yay, kids." Screenwriter Stephen E. D'Souza rewrote Stewart's script because he had experience in blending action and comedy. 38 He approached the story as if Gruber were the protagonist. He said, if Gruber had not planned the robbery and put it together, McClane would have just gone to the party and reconciled or not with his wife. You should sometimes think about looking at your movie through the point of view of the villain who is really driving the narrative. 19. D'Souza used blueprints of Fox Plaza to help him lay out the story and character locations within the building. 38. The script continued to undergo changes up to and during filming. Several subplots and traits for characters other than McClane were created during the first few weeks of filming because Willis was still working on Moonlighting. He would film the show for up to 10 hours and then work on Die Hard at night. McTiernan gave Willis time off to rest and tasked D'Souza with adding the new scenes. These included scenes with Holly's housekeeper, Holly confronting Gruber following Takagi's death, an introductory scene for Thornburg, and more moments between Powell and his fellow officers. 38. Silver wanted a scene between McClane and Gruber before the film's denouement, but D'Souza could not think of a plausible scenario until he happened to overhear Rickman affecting an American accent. He realized this would allow Gruber to disguise himself when he met McClane, and the earlier scene of Takagi's murder was reworked to conceal Gruber's identity from McClane. Due to the addition of the Gruber/McClane meeting scene, a different one in which McClane kills Theo was excised. 38. In Stewart's original script, Die Hard took place over 3 days, but McTiernan was inspired to have it take place over a single night like Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. He did not want to use terrorists as the villains, as he considered them to be too mean, and avoided focusing on the terrorists' politics in favor of making them thieves driven by monetary pursuits. He felt this would make it more suitable summer entertainment. 39. McClane's character was not fully realized until almost halfway through production. McTiernan and Willis had determined that McClane is a man who does not like himself much but is doing the best he can in a bad situation. 39. McClane's catchphrase, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker," was inspired by old cowboy lingo, including cowboy actor Roy Rogers's own "Yippee-ki-yay, kids," to emphasize his all-American character. 12:19 There was a debate over whether to use "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker" or "Yippee-ti-yay, motherfucker." Willis endorsed the former. 12. Filming. A high-rise building known as Fox Plaza. Fox Plaza in Century City, Los Angeles, served as the setting for Nakatomi Plaza. Principal photography began in November 1987, and concluded by early March 1988, with an approximate $25 to $35 million budget. BC filming took place almost entirely in and around Fox Plaza in Century City, situated on the Avenue of the Stars. 1844-45 The location was chosen late in production by production designer Jackson DeGovia. 39 A mostly unoccupied building was needed, which the under construction Fox Plaza offered. 44 It was secured with two main conditions: no filming during the day and no damage from explosions. 18. Cinematographer Jan de Bont said the building's design was distinct, making it a character on its own, and clear views of the building were available from a distance, enabling establishing shots as McClane approaches it. The surrounding city could be seen from within the building, enhancing the realism. 44 De Bont frequently used handheld cameras to film closer to the characters, creating a more cinematic intimacy. Very little of the film was storyboarded beforehand because de Bont believed intricate storyboarding made his job redundant. Instead, he and McTiernan would discuss that day's filming in detail, and the feeling or sensation they wanted to convey. De Bont was more concerned with creating a dramatic rather than an attractive shot. He cited the use of real flares in the film that generated unpredictable smoke and sometimes obscured the image. 44. Willis's first day on set was on November 2, 1987. He came straight from filming Moonlighting to shoot one of his most pivotal scenes, where McClane leaps from a rooftop as it explodes behind him, saved only by a length of fire hose. 12. Willis found acting in Die Hard difficult because it differed from previous experiences in that he was often alone, not having any personal encounters with others. 31. He did not spend much time with the rest of the cast between takes, opting to spend it with his new partner, Demi Moore. In contrast to their on-screen dynamics, Bedelia and Vel Johnson spent most of their time between scenes with Rickman. 46-47. When asked to throw Holly to the floor, Rickman refused because he believed it was not a fitting action for the civilized Gruber and that Holly, a self-possessed career woman, would not have let him. 48. The film's ending had not been finalized when filming began. In the finished film, Theo retrieves an ambulance from the truck the terrorists arrived in to use as an escape vehicle, but as this was a late addition, the truck the terrorists had been filmed arriving in was too small to hold an ambulance. Another scene, showing the terrorists synchronizing their takeover watches, also showed the truck was empty. This scene had to be deleted, leading to other necessary changes. As scripted, McClane realizes that the American hostage he encounters is Gruber because of the distinctive takeover watch he observed on the other terrorists. The watches were no longer an established plot point. 39-49. It necessitated the introduction of a heroic scene for Argyle, who gets to stop Theo's escape. Devoros actually punched Gilliard during the scene, which was added in only in the last 10 days of filming. 38-47. There was flexibility with some roles, depending on the actors' performances, meaning some characters were kept in the film longer and others killed off sooner. 38. The actors were also given some room to improvise, like Theo's line, "The quarterback is toast," Bachner's Hans, "Bubby, I'm your white knight," and the henchman Uli stealing a chocolate bar during the SWAT assault. 37-47. McTiernan took stylistic influence from French New Wave cinema when editing the film. He recruited Frank J. Uriast and John F. Link to edit scenes together while in mid-motion, contrary to the mainstream style of editing used at the time. 50. Music. Main article, Die Hard, soundtrack. Michael Kamen, Assault on the Tower. Duration, 31 seconds. 031. Kamen used samples from various classic songs and sleigh bells to create a score that highlighted the violence. Problems playing this file? See Media Help. Before hiring composer Michael Kamen, McTiernan knew he wanted to include Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, commonly known as Ode to Joy, having heard it in Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange, 1971. 51. Kamen objected to tarnishing the piece in an action film and offered to misuse German composer Richard Wagner's music instead. 51-52. Once McTiernan explained how the Ninth Symphony had been used in A Clockwork Orange to highlight the ultraviolence, Kamen had a better understanding of McTiernan's intentions. 51. In exchange, Kamen insisted that they also license the use of Singin' in the Rain, 1952, also used in A Clockwork Orange, and Winter Wonderland, 1934. 52. He mixed the melodies of Ode to Joy, Winter Wonderland, and Singin' in the Rain into his score, mainly to underscore the villains. 50-53-52. The samples of Ode to Joy are played in slightly lower keys to sound more menacing. The references build to a performance of the symphony when Gruber finally accesses the Nakatomi vault. 52-54. The score also references Let It Snow. Let It Snow. Let It Snow. 55-56-53. Kamen initially saw a mostly incomplete version of Die Hard and was unimpressed. 52 He saw the film as primarily about a phenomenal bad guy who made McClane seem less important. 52 Kamen was dismissive of film scores, believing they could not stand alone from the film. 57 His original score incorporates pizzicato and arco strings, brass, woodwinds, and sleigh bells added during moments of menace to counter their festive meaning. 56-54 There are other uses of classical diegetic music in the film. The musicians at the party play Brandenburg Concerto No. 3 by Johann Sebastian Bach. 54. McTiernan did not like a piece created for the final scene in which Carl attempts to kill McClane, and decided to use a temporary track that was already in place, a piece of James Horner's unused score for Aliens, 1986. Cues are also used from the 1987 action film Man on Fire. 3955 Die Hard also features Christmas in Hollis by Run DMC, which would go on to be considered a Christmas classic, in part because of its use in the film. 58. Stunts and designs. Stunts. The perception of film stunts changed shortly before production of Die Hard following a fatal accident on the set of Twilight Zone, the movie, 1983, and a push was made to prioritize a film's crew over the film itself. 59 Even so, Willis insisted on performing many of his own stunts, including rolling down steps and standing on top of an active elevator. 1244 The first scene he shot was his leap from the top of Nakatomi Plaza with a fire hose wrapped around his waist. The stunt involved a 25-foot, 7.6 m, leap from a 5-story parking garage ledge onto an airbag as a 60-foot, 18 m, wall of flame exploded behind him. He considered it to be one of his toughest stunts. 1227 The explosive force pushed him towards the edge of the airbag and the crew was concerned he had died. 12 Stuntman Ken Bates stood in for Willis when his character is hanging from the building. 60. Alan Rickman hanging from a raised platform. Alan Rickman was suspended from a raised platform and dropped onto an airbag. To capture the descent, an automated system controlled the camera's focus ring to keep Rickman in focus. A set was used for the following scene where McClane shoots out a window to re-enter the building. It was shot approximately halfway into the filming schedule so that all involved had gained more stunt experience. The window was made of fragile sugar glass that took 2 hours to set up, and there were only a few takes for this reason. Instead of a hoist, a team of stuntmen positioned below the window dragged the hose and pulled Willis towards the edge, as they could better control Willis's fall if he went over. 59 Editor Frank Uriast kept the scene where McClane falls down a ventilation shaft and catches onto a lower opening. Willis's stuntman accidentally fell further than intended. 39 During a scene where McClane shoots a terrorist through a table, Willis, firing the weapon while holding it compressed into his upper chest, suffered a permanent 2/3 hearing loss in his left ear caused by firing loud blank cartridges close to his head. 61-62. For Gruber's fall from Nakatomi Plaza, Rickman was dropped between 20 and 70 feet, 6 and 21 m, reports are inconsistent. 39-44-63 He was suspended on a raised platform and dropped onto a blue screen airbag. 39-63 This allowed the background behind him to be composited with footage taken from Fox Plaza and falling confetti that looked like bearer bonds. Rickman had to fall backward onto the bag, something stuntmen avoid to control their fall. 63 McTiernan convinced Rickman by demonstrating the stunt himself and falling onto a pile of cardboard boxes. 59 Rickman was told he would be dropped on a count of 3, but he was let go earlier to elicit a genuine look of surprise. McTiernan said, "There's no way he could fake that." 39-59 The first take was used, but McTiernan convinced Rickman to perform a second one as backup. 63. Capturing the stunt was difficult because it was impossible for a human operator to refocus the camera fast enough to prevent the image from blurring as Rickman fell away. 59 Supervised by visual effects producer Richard Ed Lund, Boss Film Studios engineered an automated system using a computer that rapidly refocused the camera via a motor on its focus ring. 63 A wide-angle lens camera shooting at 270 frames per second was used, creating footage that played 10 times slower than normal. Despite these innovations, the cameras struggled to keep Rickman entirely in focus during his 1.5-second fall. The scene cuts away from Rickman as the usable footage runs out. To complete Gruber's fatal descent, Bates was lowered 318 feet, 97 m, from Fox Plaza in a harness that slowed his fall as he neared the ground. 5963-64 Some of the Fox Plaza residents, frustrated by the debris and destruction around the building, refused to turn off their office lights for exterior shots of the plaza. 64. Months of negotiations took place for permission to drive a SWAT vehicle up the steps of Fox Plaza. A railing knocked over during shooting was never replaced. 3945 Small explosives moving along a guide wire were disguised as the terrorist rockets, giving the appearance of them striking the vehicle. In the scene where McClane throws C4 down the elevator shaft to stop the assault, the effects team unwittingly blew out every window on one floor of the building. 44 The final helicopter scene took 6 months of preparation, and only 2 hours were set aside to film it. It took 3 attempts above Fox Plaza, and 9 camera crews filming with 24 different cameras. 3944 DeBont said the different angles enhanced the on-location realism. 44. Mortar-like devices filled with propane were used for explosions. They took 10 minutes to install and offered a 6-second burst of flame. 59 The explosion of the Nakatomi rooftop was created using a miniature model. This was the only miniature used in the film. 44 Because Hans Gruber, Fritz, was an inexperienced actor and filming was behind schedule, a Native American stuntman was put in a blonde wig and equipped with squibs to capture the character's death in one take. 47. Design. To prevent the in-building locations looking similar because of the standard fluorescent office lighting, DeBont concealed small film lights in high locations. He controlled these to create more dynamic and dramatic lighting. This gave him the opportunity to use unusual light positioning. He also placed fluorescent tubes on the floor in one scene to indicate they had not been installed. 44 The shifting nature of the filming script meant some sets were designed before it was known what they were to be used for. 39. The Nakatomi building's 30th floor where the hostages are held was one of the few sets. 3839 It contained a recreation of the Frank Lloyd Wright designed house Falling Water. Takeover reasoned that it reflected the contemporary trend of Japanese corporations buying up American corporate assets. An early design for the Nakatomi logo was too reminiscent of a swastika and it was redesigned to look closer to a samurai warrior's helmet. A 380-foot long, 120 m, matte painting provided the city backdrop as viewed from inside the building's 30th floor. It featured animated lights and other lighting techniques to present both moving traffic, daytime, and nighttime. 39. Release. Context. See also, 1988 in film. The logo for Die Hard with Bruce Willis's name positioned above. The logo for Die Hard. The summer of 1988 was expected by film industry executives to be dominated by action and comedy films, although a broader range of films were released that year. 4165 More films targeted older audiences rather than teenagers, a reflection of the increasing age of the average audience member. 65 Sequels to successful films, Crocodile Dundee 2 and Rambo 3, were predicted to control the May box office and break opening weekend revenue records. Industry executives also had high expectations for the comedies Coming to America and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. 41. Expectations for Die Hard were low compared to its action film competition The Schwarzenegger starring Red Heat and Clint Eastwood's The Deadpool. The New York Times noted that Die Hard, and the comedies Big Top Pee-wee and Bull Durham, would be closely scrutinized by the industry for success or failure. Die Hard was singled out for Willis's salary, and the failure earlier that year of his previous film, The Western Sunset, which brought into question his leading man capabilities. 41 Lawrence Gordon agreed that not using a major action star like Stallone or Eastwood meant audience interest in Die Hard was lower than it might have been. The larger salaries paid to these stars were based on the built-in audience they could attract to a film's opening week, with good word of mouth supporting the film thereafter, but Willis did not have a built-in audience. 29. Marketing. Willis featured prominently in the film's early marketing campaign, but it underwent several changes as the film's release date drew nearer. 21/29/66 Willis had developed a reputation as an arrogant actor concerned with his own fame. His refusal to address this, or speak about his personal life to the media, had reinforced this perception. For his part, Willis said that he wanted the media to focus on his acting. 31/67 There were reports that cinema audiences would moan at Willis's appearance in Die Hard trailers, and that a representative from an unnamed theater chain had pulled the trailer in response. 66 Research by several film studios revealed that audiences had a negative opinion of Willis overall and little or no interest in seeing him in Die Hard. 29 Newsweek's David Anson called Willis the most unpopular actor ever to get $5 million for making a movie. 17. As 20th Century Fox's confidence in Willis's appeal faltered, the film's posters were changed to focus on Nakatomi Plaza, with Willis's name billed in tiny print. 21/66 Willis's image was not included in the film's first full-page newspaper advertisement in mid-July. 29 20th Century Fox executive Tom Sherrack denied that Willis was being hidden, saying their marketing strategy had changed when they realized that the building was as important a character as the actor. 66 Defying expectations, sneak previews of the film were well received by audiences. 29 And the week following its release, the advertising began featuring Willis more prominently. 29 Despite his dislike of interviews, Willis appeared on several daytime shows to promote the film. Explaining why he was more involved in the promotion for Die Hard, Willis said, "I'm so excited about this film. To me, it represents why I wanted to be an actor." 31/66 Box office. Die Hard's premiere took place on July 12, 1988, at the Avco Theater in Los Angeles, California. 68 In North America, the film received a limited release in 21 theaters in 13 cities on July 15, 1988, earning $601,851, an average of $28,659 per theater. 69 It was considered a successful debut with a high per theater average gross. 70 The Los Angeles Times said that the late change in advertising focus and diminishing popularity for action films should have worked against Die Hard. Instead, positive reviews and the limited release had made it a must-see film. 71 It received a wide release the following week on July 22, 1988, across 1,276 theaters, and earning $7.10 million, an average of $5,569 per theater. The film finished as the number 3 film of the weekend, behind Coming to America, $8.8 million, in its 4th week of release, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit, $8.9 million, in its 5th. 72 The film fell to number 4 in its 3rd week with a further gross of $6.1 million, just behind Coming to America, $6.4 million, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, $6.5 million, and the debuting romantic comedy Cocktail, $11.7 million. 73 In its 4th weekend, it rebounded to the number 3 position with $5.7 million. 74 While the film never claimed the number 1 box office ranking, it spent 10 straight weeks among the top 5 highest grossing films. 1774 In total, the film earned an approximate box office gross of between $81.3 million and $83 million. 75/76 This made it the 7th highest grossing film of 1988, behind Crocodile Dundee 2, $109.3 million, Buddy Comedy Twins, $111.9 million, Fantasy Comedy Big, $114.9 million, Coming to America, $128.1 million, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, $154.1 million, and comedy drama Rain Man, $172.8 million. 77. Outside North America, Die Hard is estimated to have earned $57.7 million, giving it an approximate cumulative gross of between $139.1 million and $140.7 million. 75-76D. This figure makes it the 10th highest grossing film worldwide of 1988 behind Big, $151 million, Cocktail, $171 million, A Fish Called Wanda, $177 million, Rambo 3, $189 million, Twins, $216 million, Crocodile Dundee 2, $239 million, Coming to America, $288 million, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, $329 million, and Rain Man, $354 million. 76, 78, 79. The summer of 1988 saw box office grosses totaling $1.7 billion, breaking the previous year's record-breaking summer by $100,065, and it was the most successful summer since 1984, when only 3 films earned more than $100 million in North America. 80. Defying pre-release expectations, Die Hard was considered an enormous success. 1280. In a year otherwise dominated by comedy films, Die Hard's overperformance was an anomaly compared to other action films such as Rambo 3 and Red Heat, which failed to meet box office expectations. 1581. Film critic Sheila Benson believed this demonstrated a generational shift in audiences and their tastes. In particular, 25 to 37-year-old men had turned against alcohol abuse, sexism, and mindless machismo. 82. Along with films like Big and Young Guns, 1988, Die Hard is credited with revitalizing 20th Century Fox, which had had few successes in preceding years. It also showed the action genre was not dead. 65. Reception. Critical response. Initial critical reviews of Die Hard were mixed. 43. Audiences reacted more positively. Polls by the market research firm CinemaScore found that audiences gave it a rare average rating of A+ on an A+ to F scale. 83. McTiernan's direction was praised. 284-85. In the Chicago Tribune, Dave Kehr wrote that McTiernan's logical direction created a sense of scale in the film that made it seem more significant than its content. 84. The scene in which the terrorists take over the building was described as a textbook study by Kevin Thomas, providing a strong introduction to both McTiernan's abilities and Abant's cinematography. 2. Degovia's set design was complimented by Kehr as ingenious. 84. Ebert praised the stunts and special effects. 86. Critics were conflicted over Willis's performance. 584-87. Many considered Die Hard Willis's breakout role, reviving his faltering transition from television to film star, and demonstrating his leading man status and comedic range. 588. Kathy Huff Hines and James Mills considered Willis's performance an evolution of his moonlighting character David Addison with less sexism and more masculinity. Huff Hines wrote that the performance improved as Willis hewed closer to his own working-class background. 89. 90-91. Reviewers including Terry Lawson and Paul Willestein believed that despite expectations, Willis had been well cast, bringing a necessary vulnerability and sense of humor to a contemporary hero, one who displays remorse, fear, and indecision without being overly macho or comedic, and delivers dialogue that other action stars could not. 92. Mark Andrews argued that this vulnerability was essential to creating tension because audiences care about the character's fate. 93. Some reviewers felt that Willis's strongest talent, his comedic ability, had been woefully underutilized. 87-94. Writing for The Washington Post, Hal Hinson complimented Willis's grace and physical bravado that allowed him to stand alongside the likes of Stallone and Schwarzenegger. Conversely, Vincent Canby said he lacked toughness. 85-87. Reviewers generally agreed that Willis's dramatic acting was unimpressive or limited, J. Boyer believed his abilities were perfect for McClane, although Kerr criticized him as only a television-level star. 84-95-96 Richard Schickel said Willis's performance was whiny and self-involved, and that removing his undershirt by the film's denouement was the totality of his acting range. He acknowledged it was difficult to perform when acting only against special effects. 97. Rickman's performance was praised. F. Karen James said he was the film's best feature, portraying the perfect snake. 3 and Hinson likened his work to the sneering, malevolent performance by Laurence Olivier in Richard III, 1955. 87 Kerr called Gruber a classic villain who combined the silliness of actor Claude Rains and the smiling dementia of actor George McCready. 84 Canby said that Rickman provided the only credible performance, and Roger Ebert, who was otherwise critical of the film, singled it out for praise. 86 Critics routinely praised Bedelia's performance and lamented that she was underused, in favor of McClane's and Powell's relationship. G. Schickel highlighted a scene in which McClane confesses his sins to Powell before rescuing his wife, robbing their marital reunion of meaning. 97 Ebert and Schickel both felt that only McClane's and Powell's characters were developed. 87-97 The film's success was credited to the remote relationships built between Willis, Rickman, and Vel Johnson, by Mike Sidoni. 91 Huff, Hines and Mills credited the performances with anchoring the film. 89-190 Ebert focused his criticism on the police captain, portrayed by Gleason, citing the character as an example of a willfully useless and dumb obstruction that wasted screen time and weakened the plot. 86 Thomas commended the casting of several minority actors. 2. The action and violence were criticized by many reviewers. H. Kevin Thomas said the film had plot holes and lacked credibility. He believed it was the result of a calculated effort to please the broadest possible audience, and concluded that it had squandered its potential as an intelligent thriller for numbing violence and carnage. 2 Canby offered a similar sentiment, suggesting the film would appeal only to audiences that required a constant stream of explosions and loud noises. He described it as a nearly perfect movie for our time, designed to appeal to audiences can be described as cajoled adults with the mindset of children. 85 One violent scene, in which Powell saves McClane by shooting Carl, was singled out. Schickel believed it to be a cynical scene that undermined the humanity formed between McClane and Powell, by having Powell find redemption for his own mistakes through violence. Hinson believed the audience was deliberately manipulated into cheering for the act. 287-97 Writing for the New York Times, James said the film offered fun escapism while relying on action cliches, but Hinson countered that despite the relentless thrills, the film was not enjoyable. 87. Reviews identified allusions in Die Hard to films such as The Towering Inferno and The Poseidon Adventure, 1972, Alien, 1979, Aliens, and RoboCop, 1987. Iker said Die Hard emulated Alien and RoboCop by developing a humorous and sentimental design that perfected the action genre, but in doing so it lacked a personality of its own. 84 Writing for the Poughkeepsie Journal, Sidoni felt Die Hard made previous action blockbusters such as Predator, Missing in Action, 1984, and Rambo look like Tupperware parties. 91. Die Hard was one of several 1988 films labeled morally objectionable by the Roman Catholic Church, along with The Last Temptation of Christ, Bull Durham, and A Fish Called Wanda. 101 Robert Davis saw the film with Schwarzenegger. Schwarzenegger was positive, but did not like Davis' character narrative, saying, "You were heroic. And now you've turned into an idiot." 47. Accolades. Portrait of Bruce Willis looking to his right. Bruce Willis in 1989 at the 61st Academy Awards. At the 1989 Academy Awards, Die Hard was nominated for Best Film Editing for Frank J. Uriast and John F. Link, Best Visual Effects for Richard Ed Lund, Al DiSarro, Brent Boats, and Tane Morris, Best Sound Effects Editing for Stephen Hunter Flick and Richard Shore, and Best Sound for Don J. Baseman, Kevin F. Cleary, Richard Overton and Al Overton Jr. 102 Michael Kamen won a BMI TV/Film Music Award for his work on the score. 103. Post-release. Home media. Die Hard was released on home video on January 26, 1989. 104-105 It was a popular rental, debuting as the third most rented film on the early February rental charts, rising to number 1 the following week. 106, 107, 108, 109 It spent 6 of its first 7 weeks in release at number 1 until it was replaced by A Fish Called Wanda at the end of March. 106, 110. Die Hard was released on DVD in 1999 as part of a collection with its sequels Die Hard 2, 1990, and Die Hard with a Vengeance, 1995. 111, 112 It was released separately as a special edition DVD in 2001, including commentary by McTiernan, Degovia, and Ed Lund, and deleted scenes, trailers, and behind-the-scenes images. 113, 114 It was released on Blu-ray in 2007. 115 Die Hard, the Nakatomi Plaza collection was released in 2015, collecting all 5 Die Hard films on Blu-ray in a container shaped like Nakatomi Plaza. 116 For its 30th anniversary in 2018, a remastered 4K resolution version was released on Ultra HD Blu-ray. The set also includes a standard Blu-ray and digital download. A limited edition steelbook case version was also released. 117. Other media. See also, Die Hard video games. Die Hard merchandise includes clothing, Funko Pops, coloring and activity books, crockery, Christmas jumpers, and ornaments, and an illustrated Christmas book retelling the film. 118 A third-person shooter video game, Die Hard, was released in 1989 for the Commodore 64 and Windows. Different top-down shooter versions were released for the TurboGrafx-16 and the Nintendo Entertainment System, NES. The TurboGrafx-16 edition begins with McClane fighting terrorists in a jungle. The NES version offers a foot meter that slows McClane's movements after he repeatedly steps on shattered glass. 119, 120. Die Hard Trilogy, 1996, a popular game for the PlayStation, adapted the first 3 Die Hard films. 121, 122 In 1997, the Japanese arcade game Dynamite Deca was redesigned and released in Western territories as Die Hard Arcade. Players choose either McClane or secondary character Chris Thompson to battle through Nakatomi Plaza, defeat terrorists led by White Fang, and rescue the president's daughter. 119, 123 2 first-person shooters were released in 2002, Die Hard, Nakatomi Plaza, which recreates the events of Die Hard, and Die Hard, Vendetta, which serves as a narrative sequel to the film, pitting McClane against Gruber's son Pete. 119, 121, 123. Die Hard, the ultimate visual history, a book chronicling the development of the Die Hard film series, was released in 2018 to coincide with the film's 30th anniversary. 124 A board game based on the film was released in 2019. Developed by USA Poly, Die Hard, the Nakatomi heist casts up to 4 players as McClane, Gruber, and his terrorists, each vying to complete their opposing tasks. 125, 126. Thematic analysis. A painting of Odysseus and Telemachus preparing to slaughter the suitors of Odysseus's wife Penelope. And 1812 painting by Joseph Ferdinand Langcrenon Fr of Odysseus, aided by Telemachus, preparing to slaughter his wife's suitors. Alexander Boone compared Odysseus's tale to John McClane's quest to rescue his wife from the terrorists. Die Hard has been described by critics such as Richard Brody and Chris Hewitt as a story about obtaining redemption through violence. McClane comes to Los Angeles to save his marriage, but makes the same mistakes that drove Holly away. Brody and Hewitt suggest that it is only after McClane defeats the terrorists through violence that their marriage is seemingly reconciled. 418 Similarly, Powell is haunted after accidentally shooting a child and finds redemption by drawing his gun to shoot Carl. 4 Several male characters who are driven by rage or ego suffer for it, including the FBI agents, Carl, Ellis, and McClane, who nearly loses Holly by showing off after shooting Gruber. Ebert notes the more even-tempered characters, often African American, fare better. 15 McClane identifies himself as a Roman Catholic, a religion requiring penance to earn redemption. Brody said that McClane endures physical punishment, including his feet being cut by glass shards to create bloody stigmata. In making these sacrifices, he salvages his family. In this sense, McClane can be seen as a modern, working-class Christ-like figure. 4. Alexander Boone compares McClane violently reclaiming his wife to the Greek figure Odysseus slaughtering his wife's suitors. McClane is rewarded for his masculinity, despite demonstrating negative male traits. 127 Jeffrey Brown believed McClane's undershirt emphasizes his masculine physical form. This outfit is worn by other action characters like Rambo, and female characters displaying masculine traits such as Rachel McLish, Aces, Iron Eagle 3, and Linda Hamilton, Terminator 2, Judgment Day. 128 Powell and Argyle are not McClane's physical equals, but they prioritize relationships, and when called on to act, they succeed. 129 McClane possesses an imposing physicality but is clumsy and reliant on improvisation, and succeeds only because of the relationships with his allies. 129 It is McClane and Powell's relationship that is particularly instrumental to McClane's success. The pair share a non-romantic intimacy that enables McClane to confess his failings as a husband in a way he did not with Holly, allowing McClane to grow as a person. 130 131 132 Gruber fails because he is isolated, self-interested, and sacrifices his team for his own survival. 131. Peter Parshall observed that McClane and Gruber are reflections of each other. 131 Brody contrasts McClane, an all-American stereotype compared to Western cowboy stars like Roy Rogers, John Wayne, and Gary Cooper, to Gruber, a classically educated, European villain who refers to America as a bankrupt culture. 418 Elizabeth Abele wrote that when compared to the superheroes of the previous decade in films like Superman, 1978, and Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1981, McClane is portrayed as physically but realistically masculine, conveying the idea of a real man who possesses independent, intrinsic strength. 133 According to Justin Chang and Mark Olson, this can be seen as a response to Reaganism, the political positions of United States President Ronald Reagan promoting values of the American dream, self-reliance, initiative, and technological advancement. 134 135 Willis believes that if given the choice, McClane would pass the responsibility of dealing with the terrorists onto anyone else, but he is ultimately compelled to serve as a reluctant hero. 12 When the character is introduced, he is wearing his wedding ring. Scott Tobias wrote this serves as a symbol of his marital commitment. Holly is presented as the opposite, she uses her maiden name and is not wearing her wedding ring. Instead, she is gifted a Rolex watch by her employers, serving as a symbol of her commitment to her job and the division in her marriage. When McClane unclasps the watch at the film's end to free Holly from Gruber's grasp, the totem of their separation is broken, and they appear to have reconciled. 132 136 Parshall describes the negative portrayals of female characters in Die Hard. They appear sexualized in pin-up posters, suggest drinking while pregnant, or are away from their families on Christmas Eve at a work function. Holly takes a position of authority following her boss's death, but that power is delegated to her by Gruber, and it is used in traditionally feminine ways, to care for her colleagues. Takagi is replaced in Holly's life with a different dominant male, McClane. 131 Darren Payne wrote that Die Hard reflects the contemporary decline of men as the main household earner as more women joined the workforce and blue-collar jobs were being lost to foreign countries. In response, an American cowboy saves the day, rescuing his captured wife from a foreign-owned tower. 137. Die Hard has elements that are anti-government, anti-bureaucracy and anti-corporation. 4:18:13 A terrorist asserts McClane cannot harm him because there are rules for policemen, rules he intends to exploit. McClane responds, so my captain keeps telling me, suggesting that he operates outside of bureaucratically approved procedures. 4:13 Brody wrote that the police often present a bigger obstacle than the terrorists. They believe they are in control of events, unaware the terrorists have already anticipated their every action. 4 The police chief is portrayed as incompetent, and the FBI is shown to be indifferent to the lives of the hostages as long as they kill the terrorists. 138 McClane is an everyman fighting against terrorists who are dressed like elite big city workers. 18 As Ellis states, the only difference between the corporate employees and the terrorists is that he uses a pen and Gruber uses a gun. 131 The police, the FBI, and an intrusive journalist are each punished for standing in McClane's way. 18 Parshall noted the Christmas setting can be seen as an attack on traditional societal values. The corporation hosts a party on Christmas Eve, keeping employees away from their families, and the villains cynically appropriate Christmas iconographies. By defeating them, McClane upholds tradition and defends society. 131. Alongside the mainly German group of terrorists, Nakatomi Plaza is owned by a Japanese corporation, and the hostages are American. 137-139 Brody identified this as reflecting American anxieties about foreign powers at a time when Japanese technology firms threatened to dominate the American technology industry. 135-137 When McClane prevails, the suggestion is that American ingenuity will prevail. 139 America's old enemies, Germany and Japan, are portrayed as having forsaken their integrity in the pursuit of financial gain. 85 Dave Kehr said the film embodies a resentful 1980s blue-collar rage against feminists, yuppies, the media, the authorities, and foreign nationals. 84 Brody notes that the film can also be considered progressive in its portrayal of its African American characters, as cast members Vel Johnson, Gilliard, and White are featured in prominent and important roles. 4. The AV Club noted that unlike many other 1980s films, Die Hard is not an allegory for the Vietnam War. The film mocks the idea when one FBI agent remarks that their helicopter assault is reminiscent of the war. His partner responds that at the time he was only in middle school. 140 Even so, Empire believed the film references Vietnam by showcasing an ill-equipped local taking on highly equipped foreign invaders. This time America wins. 18 Drew Ayers described the complex layout of Nakatomi Plaza as analogous to the concealing jungles of Vietnam. 141. Legacy. Influence on the film industry. Entrance to the studio lot of 20th Century Fox in Century City, California. The entrance of the Fox studio lot in Century City, where a giant mural of John McClane crawling through event was erected as part of the film's 25th anniversary celebration in 2013. Before Die Hard's release, Hollywood action films often starred muscle-bound men like Schwarzenegger and Stallone, who portrayed invincible, infallible, catchphrase-spouting heroes in unrealistic settings. Willis's portrayal of John McClane redefined the action genre, presenting a normal person with an average physique completely counter to that archetype. He is failing, both personally and professionally, and serves as a vulnerable, identifiable hero who openly sobs, admits his fear of death, and sustains lasting damage. Importantly, his one-liners do not come from a place of superiority over his foes, but as a nervous reaction to the extreme situation in which he finds himself, which he is able to overcome only through enduring suffering and using his own initiative. 12-18-20-140. Similarly, Rickman's portrayal of Gruber redefined action villains who had previously been bland figures or eccentric madmen. Gruber ushered in the clever nemesis. He is an educated, intelligent villain, who serves as the antithesis of the hero. 18. He has been referred to as one of the most iconic villains in the genre. 140. Empire magazine called Gruber one of the finest villains since Darth Vader. Rickman described the role as a huge event in his life. 18. Though other more typical 1980s-style action films were released, the genre gradually shifted to a focus on smaller, more confined settings, everyman heroes, and charming villains with competent plans. 140. Die Hard raised Willis from television stardom to worldwide recognition and brought fame to Rickman. 12. Willis's salary was seen as the peak of the 1980s bidding wars between new and old managers vying for jobs. The New York Times described it as the salary equivalent of an earthquake, and MGM/UA chairman Alan Latt Jr. said that it threw the business out of whack. Like everybody else in town, I was stunned. It was seen as the most substantial change to salaries since Dustin Hoffman was paid $5.5 million to star in Tootsie, 1982, at a time when top salaries ranged from $2 million, $3 million. It was expected that salaries for major stars would increase significantly to ensure they were paid more than a newer star like Willis. 16. 142. McTiernan transitioned his success into directing an adaptation of one of his favorite novels, The Hunt for Red October, 1990. 143. Vel Johnson's performance resulted in his casting in the 1989 to 1998 sitcom Family Matters. 34. Cultural influence. In 2017, Die Hard was selected by the United States Library of Congress to be preserved in the National Film Registry for being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. 144. 145. In July 2007, Bruce Willis donated the undershirt worn in the film to the National Museum of American History at the Smithsonian Institution. 146. The blood and sweat-stained shirt is considered iconic, an emblem of McClane's difference from archetypal, invincible heroes. 12. Fox Plaza has become a popular tourist attraction, although the building itself cannot be toured. 45. A floor used for filming became Ronald Reagan's office. When his head of staff toured the under-construction area, it was littered with broken glass and cartridge cases. 147. A giant mural depicting McClane's crawl through a Nakatomi Plaza event was erected at the Fox studio lot in Century City to celebrate the film's 25th anniversary in 2013. 148. One of the most influential films of the 1980s, Die Hard served as the blueprint for action films that came after, especially throughout the 1990s. 136. The term Die Hard on/in a has become shorthand to describe a lone, everyman hero who must overcome an overwhelming opposing force in a relatively small and confined location. 12. 136 examples include Under Siege, 1992, Die Hard on a Battleship, Cliffhanger, 1993, Die Hard on a Mountain, Speed, 1994, Die Hard on a Bus, and Con Air or Air Force One, 1997, Die Hard on a Plane. 12. 136. 140. Willis himself recalled being pitched a film that was Die Hard in a skyscraper. He said he was sure it had already been done. 12. It was not until the 1996 action thriller film The Rock, Die Hard on Alcatraz Island, that the tone of action films changed significantly, and the increasing use of CGI effects allowed films to move beyond the limitations of real locations and practical stunts. Writing for The Guardian in 2018, Scott Tobias observed that none of these later films readily captured the complete effectiveness of the Die Hard story. 136. The film has been a source of inspiration for filmmakers including Lexi Alexander, Darren Aronofsky, Brad Bird, Joe Carnahan, Gareth Evans, Barry Jenkins, Joe Lynch, Paul Scheer, Brian Taylor, Dan Trachtenberg, Colin Trevorrow, and Paul W. S. Anderson. 149. 150. 151. During the COVID-19 pandemic, it was among the action films director James Gunn recommended people watch. 152. The film's popularity has seen it referenced across a wide variety of media, including TV shows, films, video games, music, and novels. It has even been referenced in media targeted at children. 148 153 Willis cameos as McClane in the 1993 parody film Loaded Weapon 1. 154. There has been much debate over whether Die Hard is a Christmas film. Those in favor argue that the Christmas setting is sufficient to qualify it as a Christmas film. Those opposed argue that it is an action film whose events happen to take place at Christmas. 155 156 A 2017 YouGov poll of more than 5,000 British citizens determined that only 31% believed that Die Hard is a Christmas film, those who did skewed under the age of 24, while those opposed were mainly over 50. 157 158 A similar 2018 Morning Consult poll of 2,200 American citizens determined that only 25% supported its status as a Christmas film. Those aged between 30 and 44, who were young during the peak of the film's popularity, were most in favor. 159 D'Souza and Stewart support it being a Christmas film, while Willis feels it is not. 23 160 161 162 On the film's 30th anniversary in 2018, 20th Century Fox stated that it was the greatest Christmas story ever told, releasing a re-edited Die Hard trailer that portrays it as a traditional Christmas film. According to D'Souza, Silver predicted the film would be played at Christmas time for years. 162 163 164. Critical reassessment. Die Hard is now considered one of the greatest action films ever made. 165 166 167 On the film's 30th anniversary in 2018, The Hollywood Reporter wrote that Die Hard was easily one of the most influential films in the action genre, whose influence could still be seen in contemporary films. 168 The Guardian and the British Film Institute regard it as the quintessential American action film, the latter calling it one of the 10 greatest action films of all time. 169 136 Deadline Hollywood labeled it a staple of the action genre, that launched a classic franchise. 170 Writing for Vanity Fair, K. Austin Collins said that despite the number of times he had viewed the film, it remained a persistently satisfying and well-crafted piece. 13 It is listed in the 2003 film reference book 1001 Movies You Must See Before You Die, which says that the film effectively redefines the action movie as one-man army. 171. A retrospective review by the AV Club said that Willis's everyman persona is key to the film's success. 140 Rickman said he believed it had continued to find fans decades after its release because it was delivered with wit and style. 12 Contemporary review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes offers a 94% approval rating from the aggregated reviews of 84 critics, with an average rating of 8.6/10. The consensus reads, its many imitators, and sequels, have never come close to matching the taut thrills of the definitive holiday action classic. 172. The film also has a score of 72 out of 100 on Metacritic based on 14 critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. 173 readers of Rolling Stone ranked it the number 10 action film of all time in a 2015 poll. 174 while Empire readers voted it number 20 in 2017. 175. In 2001, the American Film Institute, AFI, ranked Die Hard number 39 on its 100 Years 100 Thrills list recognizing the most heart-pounding films. 176 in 2008, Empire ranked it number 29 on its list of the 500 greatest movies of all time. 165 in 2014, The Hollywood Reporter's entertainment industry voted ranking named it the 83rd best film of all time. 177 The film's characters have also been recognized. In 2003, the AFI ranked Hans Gruber number 46 on its 100 Years 100 Heroes and Villains list. 178 in 2006, Empire ranked McClane number 12 on its list of its 100 greatest movie characters. Gruber followed at number 17. 32 179. Several publications have listed it as one of the greatest action films of all time, including number 1 by Empire 180, IGN 166 and Entertainment Weekly 167, number 10 by Time Out New York 181, number 14 by The Guardian 182, number 18 by Men's Health 183 and unranked by Complex 184, Esquire 185 and Evening Standard 186. Adding to the debate over Die Hard's status as a Christmas film, it has appeared on several lists of the top holiday films, including at number 1 by Empire 187 and San Francisco Gate 188, number 4 by Entertainment Weekly 189 and The Hollywood Reporter 190, number 5 by Digital Spy 191 and number 8 in a Radio Times Readers Poll 192. Sequels. Main article, Die Hard, film series. Jeremy Irons seated at a table in front of a microphone with his arms crossed. Jeremy Irons, pictured 2015, portrayed Hans Gruber's brother Simon in 1995's Die Hard with a Vengeance. The success of Die Hard spawned 4 film sequels, beginning with Die Hard 2 in 1990, which was rushed into production to capitalize on the original's popularity. 193 Stewart and McTiernan did not return for the film. McTiernan was replaced by Rennie Harlin. 193 Die Hard 2 is the last film in the series to feature the involvement of D'Souza, Bedelia, Vel Johnson, Atherton, Silver, and Gordon. Silver and Gordon fell out with each other and Willis after filming concluded, delaying the production of a third film, Die Hard with a Vengeance, 1995. 193 194 195 The sequel also took longer to develop because of the difficulty in scripting an original scenario that had not already been used by one of Die Hard's many imitators. 193 195 McTiernan returned to direct Die Hard with a Vengeance, his only other film in the series. 140 The film's plot pits McClane against Hans Gruber's brother, Simon, Jeremy Irons. 193. Live Free or Die Hard, also known as Die Hard 4.0, was released in 2007. In it, McClane teams up with a hacker, Justin Long, to fight cyber terrorists led by Thomas Gabriel, Timothy Oliphant. 196 The film was controversial for its studio mandate to target younger audiences, requiring much of the violence and profanity prevalent in the rest of the series to be excluded. 196 Even so, it was financially and critically successful. 197 The fifth film in the series, A Good Day to Die Hard, 2013, teams McClane up with his son Jack for an adventure in Moscow. The film was considered a financial success. 197 198 It was derided by critics and fans, and the negative reception stalled the franchise. A Good Day to Die Hard is considered the weakest entry in the series. 196 199 Although Willis expressed interest in a sixth and final film, plans for a prequel film were cancelled following the acquisition of 21st Century Fox by Disney in 2019, and Willis retired from acting in 2022, after being diagnosed with aphasia, a condition which affects his ability to communicate. 193 200 201. Die Hard remains the most critically acclaimed film in the series based on aggregated reviews. 202 As the sequels progressed, they increasingly hewed closer to the 1980s-style action films Die Hard had eschewed, McClane becoming an invincible killing machine surviving damage that would have killed his original incarnation. 2203 NPR called Die Hard a genuinely great movie whose legacy has been tarnished by lackluster sequels. 204 According to The Guardian, the evolution of the action genre can be tracked by the differences in each Die Hard sequel, as McClane evolves from human into a superhuman. 136 A comic book prequel and sequel have been released. Die Hard, Year 1 is set in 1976 and chronicles McClane as a rookie officer. A Million Ways to Die Hard is set 30 years after Die Hard, and features a retired McClane seeking out a serial killer. Walter Bruce Willis, born March 19, 1955, is a retired American actor. Widely recognized as a Hollywood icon of the action genre, he first achieved fame with a leading role on the comedy-drama series Moonlighting, 1985 to 1989, and has appeared in over 100 films, gaining widespread recognition as an action hero for his portrayal of John McClane in the Die Hard franchise, 1988 to 2013. 2-3. Willis's other credits include The Last Boy Scout, 1991, Pulp Fiction, 1994, 12 Monkeys, 1995, The Fifth Element, 1997, Armageddon, 1998, The Sixth Sense, 1999, Unbreakable, The Whole Nine Yards, both 2000, Tears of the Sun, 2003, Sin City, 2005, The Expendables, Red, both 2010, Looper, 2012, and Glass, 2019. In the last years of his career, he starred in many low-budget direct-to-video films, which were poorly received. Willis retired in 2022 due to aphasia and was diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia in 2023. 4. Willis has received various accolades throughout his career, including a Golden Globe Award, 2 Primetime Emmy Awards and 2 People's Choice Awards. He received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2006. Films featuring Willis have grossed between $2.64 billion and $3.05 billion at North American box offices, and he was the 8th highest grossing leading actor in 2010. Early life and education. Walter Bruce Willis was born on March 19, 1955, in Idar Oberstein, West Germany. 5. His mother, Marlene 6, was from Kassel, Germany. 7. And his father, David Willis, 1929 to 2009, was an American soldier. 8. He has a younger sister, Florence, and 2 younger brothers, Robert, 1959 to 2001, and David. 9. After being discharged from the military in 1957, his father relocated the family to his hometown of Carneys Point, New Jersey. Willis has described his background as a long line of blue-collar people. 10. His mother worked in a bank and his father was a welder, master mechanic, and factory worker. 11. Willis spoke with a stutter. 10. He attended Penns Grove High School in Carneys Point Township, where his schoolmates nicknamed him Buck Buck. 12. 13. Willis joined the drama club, and found that acting on stage reduced his stutter. He was eventually elected student council president. He graduated from Penns Grove in 1973. 11. After graduating from high school, Willis worked as a security guard at the Salem Nuclear Power Plant 14 and transported crew members at the DuPont Chambers Works factory in Deepwater. 15. He turned to acting after working as a private investigator. 16. A role he would later play in the comedy-drama series Moonlighting and the action-comedy film The Last Boy Scout. Willis enrolled in the drama program at Montclair State University. 17. Where he was cast in a production of Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. He left the school in 1977, and moved to New York City, where he was part of the NBC's Page program and worked for Saturday Night Live. 18. In the early 1980s he supported himself as a bartender at various night spots in Manhattan, including Kamikaze, Cafe Central and Chelsea Central. 1920 while living in the Hell's Kitchen neighborhood. 21. Career. 1980s, Moonlighting, Die Hard and Rise to Fame. Willis at the 61st Academy Awards in 1989. Willis was cast as David Addison Jr. in the television series Moonlighting, 1985 to 1989, competing against 3,000 other actors for the position. 22. His starring role in Moonlighting, opposite Sybil Shepherd, helped to establish him as a comedic actor. During the show's 5 seasons, He won an Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series and a Golden Globe Award for Best Actor, Television Series Musical or Comedy. 10. During the height of the show's success, beverage maker Seagram hired Willis as the pitchman for their Golden Wine Cooler products. 23. The advertising campaign paid Willis $5 to $7 million over 2 years. Willis chose not to renew his contract when he decided to stop drinking alcohol in 1988. 24. In 1987, Willis obtained his first lead role in the Blake Edwards film Blind Date, co-starring with Kim Basinger and John Larroquette. 10. Edwards cast him again to play the real-life cowboy actor Tom Mix in Sunset, 1988. The same year, he starred in an action role in Die Hard, 1988, as John McClane. 10. He performed most of his own stunts in the film 25 and the film grossed $138,708,852 worldwide. 26. Following his success with Die Hard, Willis had a leading role in the drama In Country as Vietnam veteran Emmett Smith and also provided the voice for a talking baby in Look Who's Talking, 1989, and the sequel Look Who's Talking 2, 1990. 27-28. In the late 1980s, Willis enjoyed moderate success as a recording artist, recording an album of pop blues, The Return of Bruno, credited to Willis's fictional alter ego, Bruno Rodolini, supposedly an influential blues musician. The album included the hit single Respect Yourself using the Pointer Sisters as guest vocalists. 29. The LP was promoted by a mockumentary featuring scenes of Bruno performing at famous events including Woodstock. Willis released a version of the Drifters song Under the Boardwalk as a second single. It reached number 2 on the UK singles chart, but was less successful in the US. Willis returned to the recording studio several times. 30. 1990s, Die Hard sequels, Pulp Fiction, and dramatic roles. Having acquired major personal success and pop culture influence playing John McClane in Die Hard, Willis reprised his role in the sequels Die Hard 2, 1990, and Die Hard with a Vengeance, 1995. 10. These first 3 installments in the Die Hard series grossed over $700 million internationally. 31. And propelled Willis to the first rank of Hollywood action stars. Citation needed. At one point, Die Hard 2 and Ghost, starring Willis's then wife Demi Moore, would occupy the number 1 and number 2 spots at the box office, a feat that would not be accomplished again for a married Hollywood couple until 2024. 32-33. In the early 1990s, Willis's career suffered a moderate slump, as he starred in flops such as The Bonfire of the Vanities, 1990, and Hudson Hawk, 1991, although he did find box office success with The Last Boy Scout, 1991. He gained more success with Striking Distance, 1993, but flopped again with Color of Night, 1994. It was savaged by critics but did well in the home video market and became one of the top 20 most rented films in the United States in 1995. 34. Maxim also ranked his sex scene in the film as the best in film history. 35. In 1994, Willis also had a leading role in one part of Quentin Tarantino's acclaimed Pulp Fiction. 10. The film's success gave a boost to his career, and he starred alongside his Look Who's Talking co-star John Travolta. 36. In 1996, he was the executive producer and star of the cartoon Bruno the Kid, which featured a CGI representation of himself. That same year, he starred in Mike Judge's animated film Beavis and Butt-Head Do America with his then-wife Demi Moore. In the movie, he plays a drunken criminal named Muddy Grimes, who mistakenly sends Judge's titular characters to kill his wife, Dallas, voiced by Moore. He then played the lead roles in 12 Monkeys, 1995, The Fifth Element, 1997, and The Jackal, 1997, the latter of which was a box office success despite negative reviews. These were followed by Mercury Rising, 1998, and Breakfast of Champions, 1999, which were also poorly reviewed. In 1998, his voice and likeness were featured in the PlayStation video game Apocalypse. 37. Willis was involved in Broadway Brawler as both producer and lead actor. That production failed, and as compensation he was contracted for 3 films, Armageddon, The Sixth Sense and Disney's The Kid. Both Armageddon and The Sixth Sense were critical and commercial successes, with the former being the highest-grossing film of 1998 worldwide. 1038-39. 2000s. Willis in 2002 after being named Hasty Pudding Theatricals Man of the Year. Willis in June 2007 in the premiere of Live Free or Die Hard. In 2000, Willis won an Emmy for Outstanding Guest Actor in a Comedy Series for his work on Friends, in which he played the father of Ross Geller's much younger girlfriend. 41. He was also nominated for a 2001 American Comedy Award, in the Funniest Male Guest Appearance in a TV Series category, for his work on Friends. Also in 2000, Willis played Jimmy the Tulip Tutski in The Whole 9 Yards alongside Friends star Matthew Perry 42 and Russ Stewart's in Disney's The Kid opposite Emily Mortimer. 43. Willis was originally cast as Terry Benedict in Ocean's 11, 2001, but dropped out to work on recording an album. 44. In the sequel, Ocean's 12, 2004, he makes a cameo appearance as himself. In 2005, he appeared in the film adaptation of Sin City. In 2006, he lent his voice as RJ the Raccoon in Over the Hedge. In 2007, he appeared in the Planet Terror half of the double feature Grindhouse as the villain, a mutant soldier. This marked Willis's second collaboration with the director Robert Rodriguez, following Sin City. Willis appeared on The Late Show with David Letterman several times throughout his career. He filled in for an ill David Letterman on his show on February 26, 2003, when he was supposed to be a guest. 45. On many of his appearances on the show, Willis staged elaborate jokes, such as wearing a day-glow orange suit in honor of the Central Park gates, having one side of his face made up with simulated birdshot wounds after the Harry Whittington shooting, or trying to break a record, a parody of David Blaine, of staying underwater for only 20 seconds. On April 12, 2007, he appeared again, this time wearing a Sanjay Malakar wig. 46. On his June 25, 2007 appearance, he wore a mini wind turbine on his head to accompany a joke about his own fictional documentary titled An Unappealing Hunch, a wordplay on an inconvenient truth. 47. Willis also appeared in Japanese Subaru Legacy television commercials. 48. Tying in with this, Subaru did a limited run of Legacies, badged Subaru Legacy Touring Bruce, in honor of Willis. Willis has appeared in 5 films with Samuel L. Jackson, 1993's National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1, 1994's Pulp Fiction, 1995's Die Hard with a Vengeance, 2000's Unbreakable, and 2019's Glass, and both actors were slated to work together in Blackwater Transit, before dropping out. Willis also worked with his eldest daughter, Rumer, in the 2005 film Hostage. In 2006, he appeared in the crime/drama film Alpha Dog, opposite Sharon Stone. In 2007, he appeared in the thriller Perfect Stranger, opposite Halle Berry, and reprised his role as John McClane in Live Free or Die Hard. Subsequently, he appeared in the films What Just Happened, 2008, and Surrogates, 2009, based on the comic book of the same name. 49. Willis was slated to play U.S. Army General William R. Pierce in director Oliver Stone's Pinkville, a drama about the investigation of the 1968 My Lai massacre. 50. However, due to the 2007 Writers Guild of America strike, the film was cancelled. Willis appeared on the 2008 Blues Traveler album North Hollywood Shootout, giving a spoken word performance over an instrumental blues rock jam on the track Free Willis, Ruminations from Behind Uncle Bob's Machine Shop. In early 2009, he appeared in an advertising campaign to publicize the insurance company Norwich Union's change of name to Aviva. 51. 2010s. Willis in 2010 with The Expendables co-star Sylvester Stallone. As of 2010, Willis was the 8th highest grossing actor in a leading role and 12th highest including supporting roles. 52-53 Willis starred with Tracy Morgan in the 2010 comedy Cop Out, directed by Kevin Smith, about two police detectives investigating the theft of a baseball card. 54 Willis appeared in the music video for the song Stylo by Gorillaz. 55 Also in 2010, he appeared in a cameo with the former Planet Hollywood co-owners and 80s action stars Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger in the film The Expendables. Willis played the role of CIA agent Mr. Church. It was the first time the three action stars had appeared on screen together. Although the scene featuring the three was short, it was one of the most highly anticipated scenes in the film. The trio filmed their scene in an empty church on October 24, 2009. 56 Willis next starred in Red, an adaptation of the comic book miniseries of the same name, in which he portrayed Frank Moses. The film was released on October 15, 2010. 57. Willis starred alongside Bill Murray, Edward Norton, and Frances McDormand in Moonrise Kingdom, 2012. Filming took place in Rhode Island under the direction of Wes Anderson, in 2011. 58 Willis returned, in an expanded role, in The Expendables 2, 2012. 59 He appeared alongside Joseph Gordon-Levitt in the sci-fi action film Looper, 2012, as the older version of Gordon-Levitt's character, Joe. Willis teamed up with 50 Cent in a film directed by David Barrett called Fire with Fire, starring opposite Josh Duhamel and Rosario Dawson, about a fireman who must save the love of his life. 60 Willis also joined Vince Vaughn and Catherine Zeta-Jones in Lay the Favorite, directed by Stephen Frears, about a Las Vegas cocktail waitress who becomes an elite professional gambler. 61 The two films were distributed by Lionsgate Entertainment. Willis reprised his most famous role, John McClane, for a fifth time, starring in A Good Day to Die Hard, which was released on February 14, 2013. 62 In an interview, Willis said, "I have a warm spot in my heart for Die Hard. It's just the sheer novelty of being able to play the same character over 25 years and still be asked back is fun. It's much more challenging to have to do a film again and try to compete with myself, which is what I do in Die Hard. I try to improve my work every time." 63. That same year, Willis reprised his role as Frank Moses in Red 2. 64. On October 12, 2013, Willis hosted Saturday Night Live with Katy Perry as a musical guest. 65 In 2015, Willis made his Broadway debut in William Goldman's adaptation of Stephen King's novel Misery opposite Laurie Metcalf at the Broadhurst Theatre. His performance was generally panned by critics, who called it vacant and inert. 66 Willis was the subject of a roast by Comedy Central in a program broadcast on July 29, 2018. 67 Willis played himself in a cameo in the 2019 film The Lego Movie 2, the second part. 68. 2020s, critical decline, health problems, and retirement. In the final years of his career, Willis starred in many low-budget independent thrillers and science fiction films. 69 He worked primarily with the production companies Emmett/Furla Oasis,